Today I'm going to introduce to you non-calculus statistic, and we start with the terminologies. The terminologies are population, and a population is a complete collection of elements that that are supposed to be studied. For example, it can be like measurements, it can be people, it can be scores, it can be maybe number of women in the whole community. Another terminology is a sample. A sample is a sub-collection of members selected from a population. So for example, if we cannot study the whole population, we do a selection. This selection and this all collection of all this selection, they are called sample. So we study them and we use them to represent the whole population. And then parameters. Parameters, numerical measurement describing some characteristic of a population. That is what you use when you are describing the population. But what about statistic? Statistic is the numerical measurement describing some characteristic of a sample. So when we are studying a sample, and then the numerical measurement that we use is always called statistic, but for parameter is when we are all dealing with the population. The next one of this video is what is a sensor. Sensor is the collection of a data from every element in a population. For example, and a sample is a subset of a population. So there is a difference. When we do sensor, it all includes all the elements in that society or that group that you study. Like for example, in Canada, when we do sensor, it's something that has to be a long run, and it takes time because we have to collect information from every other person, as compared to a sample. If we want to study about something and we can't really do the whole sensor, and then we can select a certain group, we study those people, and then we make a conclusion about the whole population based on our study. There are two types of data. There is what we call categorical or qualitative data. This is the one that can be distinguished by some non-numerical characteristic. This could be like maybe a blood group. Your blood group is not connected or described in terms of numbers. But for quantitative data, it consists of numerical numbers that represent something. It can be a count or measurements. So for example, we have two types of this quantitative data. We type which is discrete, which gives us a countable number or infinite number. So it could be a number of students enrolled in a certain university, that it gives us a specific number. But for a continuous is the one that only convey a range of number. It's not really specific, like your height. So maybe your height is this one is something, or weight of something. It could be in between. We have decimal point in between. Yeah, there are no gaps in that. So next one is we can do like some example to cover up everything that we have studied today. So like for example, if you have to differentiate between the continuous and concrete, it has to be that this question asks you the total number of phone calls a sales representative make in a month is 425. With this, it is discrete. It's discrete because it's not really representing a range of numbers, but it is giving you a specific number, something that can be counted. They are not decimal in this space, so it would be discrete. The number of limb, the third question is the number of limb on a 2-year-old oak tree is 21. This one also is giving you a specific definite finite number, which is 21, so it will be a discrete, obvious. And the other question is talking about how you can really tell whether it's a sample or something is asking about population. So this one is loading slowly, but we have to identify whether the question is asking you about sample or population. Also, it has to be determined by sample, like as we already discussed before. The sample is the subs collection of members from the population, and then the population is the one that is representing the whole thing, the whole elements. So here it has that identify the sample and a population. Identify whether the question that will be asked to you is a population or a sample. So here in a pool of 50,000 random selected, whenever there is that term selected, would mean we are making a choice of not studying everything in that population. So when we are making a selection, you will obviously know this is really a sample, or we are doing what we are going to do is a statistics. So we are going to represent a certain characteristic of a selected group. So here in this question is a pool of 50,000 random selected college students. 74% answer yes. When asked, do you have a television in your dorm room? So in this case, it is sample because we are randomly selecting a specific group in a population. So the answer of 50,000 selected college student will represent like the sample, because we are not studying the whole population of the school. When we study the whole population of the school, and then it becomes a census, and then that is a population. All college students will represent the population. Yes, we are getting there. Representative. Yes, say